Hi, I'm Jessica, and I'm a relatively funny person. I've spent a good portion of my life making people laugh through improv and sketch comedy. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I began making jokes about it in a way to find the funny in the very unfunny business of what was going on. Turning to comedy during times of tragedy is a long-standing tradition, and thankfully there are a few folks out there that can help us find the funny when we need it most.
Therapy Players began by my looking for psychologists online with improv experience.
Cannot wait for us to go. Unusual flavors in your cake.
I think I use a lot of humor helping people find funniness in their fears and phobias.
Sure, I sure am. You know what?
That goes right to the traditional Freudian notion of humor, that humor is something that results on finding that, gosh, this terrible situation isn't nearly as terrible or dangerous as I thought it was.
I think the most important thing that we teach our students on any level and with any condition is just speak your truth. Just listen and speak your truth. And I think the humor will come from that.
I use it as a punchline sometimes.
I think humor is a very strong tenet of our philosophy. It certainly is one of our cultural norms here at Golders Club Chicago.
I moved out to Chicago for a job that I was recruited for. My husband had just lost his job. I thought it would be, let's just take a risk, let's try something new. My job was horrible and I got laid off, and then 2 months later, I got cancer. So that's my punchline.
My little formula for comedy that I did not make up, it's not original, but is comedy equals truth plus surprise.
When I was diagnosed, I decided that I was going to be open about it with my friends and family, but it's a strange thing to tell people you've got cancer. So this is ultimately how I did it. Tasteless? Perhaps. Surprising? Definitely. Funny? You betcha.
My mother had a debilitating stroke and was no longer able to communicate, but she never lost her sense of humor. So I continued to call her by a nickname that people didn't necessarily understand. I would walk up to her and I'd say, "Let's go, old lady." I even was reprimanded by the staff at her nursing home for the way I spoke to her. But humor was the language that my mother and I used to communicate when she couldn't verbalize anymore.
Until I started teaching in the wellness program, I always was teaching improv for performance. And when I started doing wellness, it was really fun to click into how this can be applied to life and how this can be applied to just help ourselves and help other people. To be with people who have similar ailments as them and to have a laugh about it or to have a cry about it, or to hear my anxiety students, to overhear one of them say, "I went to an office party last week and I wasn't nervous at all." That these tools that I've always had and that have helped my life, I didn't really take a deep look into them until I started applying it for something other than performance. And I found it to be so enriching and rewarding. I love it so much.
Thank you.
It's a way of leveling the situation, of connecting with people and having relationships, which is what it's all about.
So there you go. Finding the funny won't change the problem, but it might make you feel better, connect you with others, and at the very least make you smile. And that's never a bad thing. Take it from me, Jessica, a relatively funny person with cancer.